the Arizona Cardinals can now afford to audition free agents and not plead for them to come play here and overpay them in the process. It's a beautiful thing. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. 15 years in sports media in Phoenix, ninth year hosting this podcast. 10th year, 9th season. This is bonkers. As we start to see the Arizona Cardinals 2.0 grow up. I alluded to this in the last segment of yesterday's show. Yesterday's show was good. I give myself credit for it once in a while. It was a good show. I teased the segment I'm going to do to start today's show. Final segment. Walter Nolan signs his rookie contract. I put it in the C block because I don't think it's that important. And I'll explain what I mean by not that important, not that big of a story. I'm full no on Terry McLaurin, and I think there was one pundit out there that mocked Terry McLaurin getting traded to the Cardinals. Out. I'll explain why. And the impetus for the second segment, the reasoning and the precursor to the second segment is everything that Monty Osford has done since taking over at the end of the 2022 season for the Cardinals. For the majority of their existence, let's say over the last 30 years, whatever it is, 25 years. Let's talk about this, millennium. The Arizona Cardinals don't get top-tier free agents to come play here. They don't. Well, I traded for DeAndre Hopkins and Zach Ertz. Okay. I said free agents. Where you don't have to give up draft capital to get them to come play here. The only guys that happened under was overpaying, or guys that love to play golf and want the warm weather, or want to break the all-time rushing record. Edgerrin James was an exception to the rule. The dude balled out for 2 years here after leaving Indy. Like, the dude balled out. But anytime there was a big-name free agent, anytime there was a middling free agent during the free agency period, the Cardinals were never even tied to them because they were bad and because they were dysfunctional. And they were kind of the laughingstock, one of the laughingstocks of the NFL, including the Detroit Lions, including the Cleveland Browns, the latter two of whom have showed some sort of semblance of success of late. Cleveland, not so much of the, very recently. Detroit, obviously, much more pronounced the last couple seasons. It just wasn't built into the equation regarding how the Cardinals were going to build their roster. Oh, you know what? Impending free agent, let's target that guy. A lot more Terrell Suggs, 1 year, $7 million, where he was hurt, and then he went and won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs the same year kind of thing. Getting fleeced because the money was there and nobody else wanted to take it. It's not harsh, it's just what it is. And now what we're seeing with the metaphor, I guess, comparison maybe that I used yesterday was, we're watching the Arizona Cardinals organization grow up. They were reborn at the end of the 2022 season. We're watching them grow up. And what we're witnessing is experiences that are put in front of them that haven't happened in the past. Just like, a kid growing up, riding a bike for the first time, getting your learner's permit. And what I equated this situation for the Cardinals, not just for this year, but you expect for at least next year and the year after that, years to come, is they've got accepted to multiple colleges, and it's their choice on where they want to go. They've got options. They don't have to go, to a school they don't want to go to just because that's the only place that accepted them. And when you look at free agency and you look at it, and I'll group in the trade market here also, because I'm going to talk about Terry McLaurin in the next segment. Like, the Cardinals are in audition mode. They're not in we'll sign anybody mode. They're in, does this person fit our scheme mode? Not, we'll make this person fit the scheme because this is one of the top free agents and we're going to overpay this guy just so they can field a roster that's not, on the precipice of being relegated. It's different. They can be methodical. They can be conservative with their money. They can be conservative with their roster spots, because this is what it looks like when you take 3 full cycles of offseason, 2.5, 2 3/4 cycles of off seasons, including free agency and the draft, to completely rebuild a roster, of which less than 50% was retained after the 2022 season. And since then, much less of those percentage of players are still on the roster. It was a complete overhaul. Arizona Cardinals, in name only, Arizona Cardinals 2.0, whatever moniker you want to put on it. This is not your grandparents' Arizona Cardinals. This is not your parents' Arizona Cardinals. Now, is it going to work? We don't know, because we haven't seen it yet. But what we've seen up until this point over the last 1,200 days or so, 1,000 days, whatever it is the Arizona Cardinals are now in a position to where they don't have to just sign people to field a roster at the NFL level. And what they did this offseason was the beginning of it. This is the first time in legitimately, since I took over this podcast, at least 10 years, where the Cardinals were directly tied to one of the more coveted free agents in a class. J.J. Watt came out of nowhere. J.J. Watt came out of nowhere. I guess that was the last one where he signed here, and people thought he was over. I thought he played great when he was healthy. He played great. Josh Sweat, tied to the Cardinals. Oh, Jonathan Gannon, former DC, knows the system. Nick Rallis, was the LB coach there. There's familiarity with the defense and the comfortability and the chaos that is that defense and the scheme that they throw out there at times. Boom, Cardinal. Dalvin Tomlinson, cap casualty. They like their rookie that they drafted in the first couple rounds last year to go along with Myles Garrett. Dalvin Tomlinson, cap casualty in a second, Arizona Cardinal. Calais Campbell, the biggest one. And this cannot be understated. He's like the spokesperson for the ushering in of the new regime. You think he'd want to come back if things were even close to the same? I know a lot of the ties were to the former GM. I know a lot of it, all of the dysfunction was there. And also, the same dude is signing the paychecks. So that is a constant uphill battle, upstream battle the Cardinals are going to have to fight in some form or fashion. So the fact that Big Calais came back, that's everything. That's the icing on the cake. So the Cardinals are in full audition mode when it comes to who becomes a part of their family, and not just, hey, got to field a roster. Who wants to get overpaid and live and play golf in Scottsdale? Who wants it? Anybody? We're not picky. It's a far cry from that. With that, absolute no on Terry McLaurin. Not because of the main reasons, because of another reason. Not to say there is a main reason. Not because of the obvious. Because of something a little bit more in depth than that on top of the obvious. I'll discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go, man? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop managing your money and start actually building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. You don't have to do a bunch of different things on a bunch of different apps. You got one with Monarch. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. So whilst it's still in the very infancy stages because we haven't seen a winning season since Monty Osford and Jonathan Gannon et al. Took over. Completely understand that. whichever. If you can't acknowledge that things are different, you're just a hater. And that's fine. You're welcome to be. There's plenty of them. You get your jollies off constantly being negative about a team. For everydayers, Ed Romero, you get your shout out here. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 5 years probably straight. I was hardcore negative about this team. And they deserved it. I'm sorry that I lost a lot of listeners, lost a lot of viewers because people want to hear positive things all the time. I'm sorry. That's where I treat you like an adult was birthed. I've been there with this team firsthand. And I see that things are vastly different now. So it's easier to be more positive and talk about positive outlooks and positive, future pacing goals because they're not fighting against themselves for functionality. So now you can filter a little bit more. You don't have to sign everybody who you bring in just to field a roster that won't get relegated. And that's a beautiful power position to be in. Many organizations don't get there. They do in some form or fashion. A lot of it has to do with overpaying, a big name free agent who chose the money over going to win somewhere else. It's not an original story. But the Cardinals now went from pay to play to do you fit the mold that they're trying to build a perpetually relevant organization. They're here now. Many losing dysfunctional organizations never get to breathe it. They're not only breathing the air, they're renting. It's a beautiful transition to see. Now, again, will it work? We don't know. But this has a damn well better chance of working than what we've seen over the last 15, 20 years. Even with the BA years. There was a ticking, it was just an egg timer. Better win now because this is going to go to crap with, it was a makeshift. It wasn't a family. It was a bunch of hired guns that are wearing the same uniform while massively overpaying Larry Fitzgerald for 6 years or 5 years on the tail end, 4 years, which, that's conversation for no day because nobody wants to hear that. The Cardinals should be out on Terry McLaurin. I don't know why this is a conversation, really. I understand the allure. The dude's a beast. The dude is a Mike Evans light, not because of the play style, even though it's similar. I mean, they're great outside receivers who catch a lot of balls they shouldn't catch. I'm more talking about the loyalty thing. He could have asked out multiple times. I think he got 3 years, 66. That rings a bell. I'm not David Harrison. I'm not Locked On Commanders. But I think he got 364, something like that, which was a steal at the time. He's on the other side of 30. He's probably going to want 100 mil. And no, absolutely not. Plus, you have to give up a second. So the projected trade was a second-round pick in Zaven Collins. Now, the projected second-round pick in Zaven Collins for Terry McLaurin? Sure. Absolutely. If he was already under contract and he had like 2 years left or something like that, instead of wanting a new deal that he's now holding out mandatory minicamp because of, no. If the money was built in, you're like, all right, you're going to give him 25 mil the next 2 years. Okay. If that was, and then there was an out after the 2 years, that's easy. You can kick the money down the road. You can restructure it, add a guaranteed year, and lower the salary cap at least for the first year and kick it down the road. That's wildly different than a dude probably wanting a 4 or 5 year contract worth $100 million, even 3 year. It doesn't matter. That's not something that the Cardinals have the infrastructure for right now. Could they make it work? Sure. You go the New Orleans Saints route and have a lot of dummy years down the end and you just kick the can down the road? Sure. Is that something Monty Osborne can even spell because it goes against everything that he's made of? No. So that's more the reason. It's the money. Trading a second round, if you traded second round pick in Zaven Collins for Terry McLaurin and he's already under contract, sign me up. This isn't age thing. He's got 3 really good years left, if not more. The dude plays football like an old school dude, like an Andre Johnson dude, like a Mike Evans dude. Mike Evans can play for another 4 years, man, if his body holds up. If you can catch 50-50 balls in this league, you've got a job wherever you want. Because you don't need to be the fastest. You don't need to be the quickest. You need to get to a spot and jump higher than somebody else and have the hands conducive to ripping a ball away from one, if not two defenders that are draped all over you. Terry McLaurin can do that. He and Jay McDaniels were fantastic last year. If I'm Washington, pay him. You paid everybody else. Why would you not pay the dude who's been the guy there? Now, one of the reasons why, that was Dan Snyder's dude. That's not, that's not the new regime's guy. That still shouldn't matter. There should be plenty of carryover for how important Terry McLaurin's been and how good of a citizen as a Washington professional football team wide receiver's been. Like, that should carry weight to get a contract there. I'm sure this is just posturing. I'm sure he's not going to go anywhere. And if he did, I'd hope that the Cardinals wouldn't be the team that traded for him and then paid him all that money. If he was 26, 27, and he wanted out, cool. Like, if Garrett Wilson wants out after this year with the Jets next year, and we're having this conversation, I would 100% have this conversation. Because I can almost guarantee strong. Garrett Wilson's going to want out if they win 4 games this year. And he won't go for a first. You give him second, you give him a contract extension, that's a completely different conversation. He's 5 years younger almost than Terry McLaurin. Is Terry McLaurin a top player in this league at the wide receiver position? Yes. Is he severely underrated? Absolutely. Does he deserve another contract? For sure. Should the Cardinals, if he was under contract already and he had 2 years left and it was already built in and you had an out after that and you could restructure it and maybe make the cap hit whichever year you need it to be lower, and it all it would cost you is a second-round pick in Zaven Collins? Yes. A second-round pick, Zaven Collins, and $100 million? No. 3's enough. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Walter Nolan signs his 4-year rookie scale deal with a 5th-year option. Cool. Much ado about nothing. We'll discuss it next. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. You know the drill, man. I don't know why I'm talking like that. So here's the thing. Walter Nolan signed his rookie contract. Cool. Did you think he wasn't going to? Well, it's happened a lot in the past. Well, Robert Kimdiche. Stop being lazy. I've taught you better than that. Stop being lazy. The Cardinals should draft Cam Scatterbo because he went to ASU. Why? Well, he's homegrown. No, he's not. Started at Sac State. What's next? Well, he wore ASU and he lived in Tempe and then Arizona. Who cares? Oh, you don't respect homegrown talent. He wasn't homegrown and he had a good year and a half. It's like Walter Nolan is not Robert Kimdiche. Spoiler alert. College programs have more than one player that went to all of them. That doesn't mean that they're the same person or that they're related or that they're friends or that they even have each other's phone number. There was no doubt that Walter Nolan was going to sign his rookie contract. Sometimes it's just about little numbers here, little preference here and there, whatever. And he's there. And he's been there. He's been working off to the side. He's there. Okay? Chill. I put this in the C block for a reason. This is a non-story. Like, oh, he had character issues in college. And then he transferred from Texas A&M, which was an absolute cesspool of an organization. They spend so much money on NIL. They've got Jimbo Fisher doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Like, that is a terrible place to be. And then he transferred to an adult organization, which is what we're calling colleges now. Say what you want about Lane Kiffin, but he's been around the block, and the dude is a stable force at head coach. You got a good quarterback. They had a good defense, and not a peep from Walter Nolan, except for everything that caused the full enamoring from Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort and Nick Rallis. All of this is a total non-story. Everything I talked about in the first segment is my discovery with this being my thesis and my closing argument, is that this is different. This is a different organization. They've got stability. Do you want to use the no-fly zone here? This is a no-fly zone for dysfunction. The only thing that, since Montana took over, was like, Zay Jones was suspended for the first chunk of last season. It's like, okay, they knew about that. Like, this isn't something that, Walter Nolan signing his rookie scale contract a little bit later than everybody else. Who cares? Will Johnson still has to sign his. I think the interesting part about that is it's because he dropped. He's going to try and get as much as he can. Second rounders are a little bit different. They'll get it figured out. It's going to be fine. Everything is getting checked. All the boxes. Everything's ready to roll. We're June, July, August. We're less than 3 months away from week 1. And things are exactly on schedule. I'm sorry they're not on your schedule if you thought that this was what was supposed to happen last year. It wasn't time yet. To completely shatter and rebuild a building takes longer than 2 off seasons. It just does. And things are really starting to shape up to where if things go the way they're expected, or even 80 to 90% of that, the Cardinals will be a relevant team for the next 5 years plus. And Walter Nolan signing his rookie contract a couple days late is a non-story. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you on Friday.